You may be wondering what's happened to the Crosstrail gravel conversion. Well, after riding it for about 2 months and 2,000 kilometers, I decided that the frame was too small, and so what I've done is I've converted it to an e-bike for my wife. I was very fortunate. I found a donor bike that had almost brand new Suntour forks that were almost identical to the original ones that came on these. So these are NCXs, they're designed for 700c wheels. I have some 32mm Panniers Gravel Kings on here. Also off the donor bike, we got the Shimano Dior rear derailleur, a 9-speed rear cassette, and Shimano hydraulic brakes. But the big thing was the conversion to an e-bike, and for this I used a CYC X1 stealth motor, and in the rest of the video I'm going to show you how we fitted it. Now, I did pay full price for this. I'm not sponsored by CYC. I got the motor from Electrified Bike in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I got the battery pack, which is a 52 volt direct from CYC in Hong Kong. So, as you can see, we've got the controller. It's mounted up front. It's a bit of an effort getting all the wiring in, but the reason we bought the donor bike is because it had a rack on the back, and so we've transferred the rack to here. So let's have a look what we've got in the box for the CYC X1 stealth motor. Okay, there we go. QR code for instructions. Lift that out. This is the drive wheel. It's the drive chain. Throttle. Electrical connectors. That looks like the speed sensor. And clips. And brackets. We have the motor. Wow, that's heavy. That's clearly where it fits on the bottom bracket. It's that's the handlebar controller. Just did it. And finally, crank arms. So threaded bottom bracket. This is the drive side and this is the non-drive side, and that must be the torque sensor. So clearly all we've got to do is take the crank bottom bracket out and fit all these in. And there are 3 rings to put in between the motor and the bottom bracket shell. The large one goes on the non-drive side. This one you don't use because this is a 73mm bottom bracket and this is 5mm, so this is for the 68mm road shells.
Wrong, as you'll see later on, put both rings on the non-drive side.
So on the non-drive side, this is the torque sensor, and that's where we put the large spacer. I think you can see there we've had to put a piece of rubber between the motor and the frame that allows us to tighten the motor up completely, but still allows the cables not to touch the motor. It's all tightened up, everything's in. Now this is the tricky bit. First of all, you've got to remove the cover on the gear. It's a 2.5mm socket. Now you need to put the chain onto the big ring, like that. And you're going to put this over here at the same time as you just wobble that onto there. That's it. That's how to get it on. Just tighten it back up. And now we have to put the locking nut on. This is the one that's not marked, it goes on the drive side. It's a standard right hand thread. Try to get it in. The one on the other side is marked 3 Newton meters, So again, it's a right hand thread, but very, very lightly tightened.
At this point, I checked the chain line and discovered that it was too far over on the drive side and I needed to move the drive crank further in. So I had to undo everything, take out the spacer, move it to the other side, and then check again. So don't tighten everything up, check the chain lines right first. I put the battery on the down tube. I didn't really like it there because it took up too much space and I couldn't get a bottle in. So I put it on the seat post instead and added another boss to move the bottle gauge higher. So I put the rivet nut on a QR skewer because they're the same 5mm thread, and since it's a 0.8mm pitch, you simply turn this 4 times and it will pull the rivet up 3.2mm, and that's enough to set it in the frame. Back it off one. There we are. All fitted. Now, in order to get the battery on in the seat tube, I had to fit an extra boss there so we can attach it. I just want to show you where the cables go. That goes round underneath, and that's where you split the cable to charge it up or connect to the motor. The speed sensor is hooked in there, and the cable runs along the hydraulic brake hose, and I use the same system here, attaching the main control cable all the way up the brake hose and then around into here. I've bundled everything up tightly, and then we fitted the controller, the brakes, that's the throttle. And you turn it on just by pushing that. Start up, and it's very easy to change the assist level, and you can use the throttle. There we are, all ready to go shopping or commuting. Now CYC have a little app that you can use on your phone that connects your phone via Bluetooth to the controller, which sits underneath the bike. It's in there, and you can basically reprogram any of the settings on the motor, so you can change the maximum amount of power, the maximum top speed, the various power levels you want to apply. On this setup, because I've got hydraulic brakes, I decided not to use the brake sensors, because generally when you put the brakes on you stop pedaling anyway. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and the next video will show you what we did with the donor bike.